Alrighty. Well, it doesn't seem to want to be cooling down much these last couple of days, so I'm in here in the remains of, or the re-converted cardboard house. I really do need a fan in here, but I've got a bit of trouble with that Ryobi fan, because the friggin' sod goes and flattens the battery, so I think when it's not being used. So I think the actual switch is shorting out. But quite honestly, I might go and get it anyway because it's so bloody hot. And there's not much air movement in this thing because of all the surrounding bits and bobs. But anyway, walk around out here for a while, I suppose. We had an intriguing little, real genuine sort of a corporate moment at work today. Now, they've known about this particular job that's got to come up, and I'm the only person that knows how to do this stuff. In fact, when I first come to this place, that was, what I was involved with. That's why I was brought there. Long and short of it, I might as well tell you it's a safety screen system, like the one you would have seen on the main channel, to stop the guys falling out into the power lines. We hire a system like that has a way of attaching to the building and other bits and pieces, and you can attach it directly from the ground and all this other stuff. But that's sort of my speciality. In fact, I'm the only person left who's had any more than a few hours experience with it, who, and I mean literally like 5 or 6 hours experience for some of the other guys, but I'm the only one left who's had significant experience. I've spent fucking months on these things at times. So anyway, we go to set all that stuff up, and they knew it was coming around Christmas time, and then the last Wednesday, this is, the Tuesday after the Wednesday, almost a week ago, they got confirmation that it had to, that the job was indeed going ahead, and apparently the cost they pay to hire these is fucking huge. There's quite a number of these things go out. They're almost the entire length of a big rig, bar maybe 5 foot short of a big rig. They are literally the width of a big rig. But we have the job will be like 46, 44, 53, huge numbers like that. So you got to sort of, they want them in stages, and sometimes it has to do with the floors of the building going up one by one, or they sort of have to put them on in a certain order due to, they've got bits that overlap and fuck around and that, to make sure there's not even so much as a finger's gap. No more than a finger's gap. But there's certain ways you've got to put them on sometimes because of the way the cranes are mounted on these multi-storey buildings. So anyway, you've got these little bits that deliberately overlap, and there's these little things with a bolt on them that I get the big, it's like an impact wrench, like that thing they put your fucking car tyres on with. But it's like a cordless one, so you just got this big cordless drill battery on it, and it's fairly fucking heavy because they need a substantial gearbox for all the, rattling. They're known as rattle guns. And so anyway, they've known about this shit since Christmas. Went in, fucking, was it yesterday, and had a meeting on all this stuff with all the engineering drawings out on the table, the manager, my supervisor. They've given me my normal sidekick and another sidekick to do all this. Another guy who trains the people on site who are actually putting them up, so who put up one or two of these things, one or two of any one of our systems, because he knows all of our systems, and that do absolutely everything. he's, goes out there and trains them. He's come from interstate, and he's, now down in Melbourne. So anyway, it was him as well, and then one of the salesmen who, was the one who got the job come in. We're all sitting there having a big powwow about it all. And the salesman, as usual, he got all his fucking lines crossed and, decided to write down stuff on the page that he had it all back to front. But he's marked all these engineering drawings. And then my fucking sidekick goes, oh, so we got to, they're all engineering drawings wrong and this stuff, hand-drawn stuff right. And I said, I was thinking, fuck you, klutz. What do you think's right? The engineering drawings that are printed out and all done by engineers, or the fucking salesman who's just scribbled this shit on with a fucking pen? These things are like fucking A3 sheets or something like that. And, even then they should be A2 because you're battling to see them, what you're trying to look at sometimes. And I was sitting there thinking, geez, my sidekick's a fucking klutz, I said, what do you, I didn't say it directly there. I said, no, it's the engineering drawings are correct, not someone scribbling on with a fucking pen. Anyway, no big deal. But the manager tells me that he's been looking down there and he's measured up some of the ones and, we don't have any of the right size. So anyway, we're busy doing other stuff yesterday after this meeting, and they said, right, you're going to start first thing this morning. So we go out there to find that 80% of them are the right size. But these little doovers that connect the overlaps, you need, per safety screen, these are like miniature screens that just slide across, miniature mesh things that slide across. And there's a number of different, I've seen at least 2 other different brands of this kind of stuff out there. At least 2. One of them looked fucking terrible. Like it really, it was just like this mesh that I put around my fucking trees type thing, and there's not much more. And so wide that you wouldn't want to hit it with anything significant. Anyway, the long and short of it is he's gone and nobody's checked the amount of these connectors we need. They've known about this job for months. Nobody's even got on the computer to work it out. These have been checked September, November during stock take. All the figures have been updated and it's all correct. And I've done a bit of quick maths and said, well, you want 23, that means we're going to need 92 of these things. Well, I've fucked up. It's not actually 92. It's more around the lines of, what is it again? Like about 180 something. So I've fucked up and I've got to retell them that. But amazingly, we had 2 of these connectors, although we need nearly 200. Nobody checked it. Here we are, get all the tools, get all sorted, and you're sitting there with like 4 or 5 guys that know all this stuff, they're all ready for it, blah, 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 and not one of them has got on the computer and checked how many of these things there are, gone and had a look in the location and checked how many there 2. Okay. So it almost stalled the whole fucking day. We've had a month to work this out between 5 people and no one fucking checked. Holy smoke. But I didn't see all this shit till yesterday. And then I realised this morning, obviously when we went to do it, that we didn't have enough. And I was like, oh gosh. And you just sort of think, this is unbelievable. First you're told there's nothing out there that's right. You go out there and the first 5 minutes you find out 80% of it's the right size. So we're in a big rush for nothing. Then we find out that, well, these things, we need 200 of them and we got 2, and it's basically 92 times 2 that we need to be exact. But you have a few more in case, because some of these, they got nuts on them and some of the nuts fuck up or the thread fucks up, because it's sort of, people do stupid shit like trying to hit them with a hammer to get them to fit and, anything you could imagine, any form of damage you could ever fucking believe possible, they've done it, including some that you're looking at, and you're trying to work out, now, how the fuck would have they done this? I've seen steel frames that literally will hold several tons, and they've bent them, but the like entire length of it is bent 3/4 of an inch. And it's like fucking, how many foot is it? About 9 foot wide or something. And, or close to, I think it's like 8.5 foot wide. No, it'd be 8 foot, nearly exactly 8 foot wide. And somehow they've bent this fucking thing back on itself, and you're like, how the fuck did these beams not just sort of start folding in? And you start thinking, how much pressure did they put on this thing? If this is rated to handle like 5 tons, they must have been pulling this thing, you know, and everything that you have a rating of, it usually actually will handle double its rating. So that means that it's actually taken more than 10 tons of effort to bend this fucking thing. You're like, you're shitting me. They use more than 10 tons worth of strength to bend this fucking thing? Some of the shit you see is unbelievable. I've seen stuff where they've had these exact same frames. This is in a mine, underground mine, and everything that come back was sort of real bad water effects. You must be pretty wet underneath that mine, because everything had obvious signs of fucking water damage, causing a lot of issues. And yeah, it had been pissing wet wherever these things were stored, and they'd been with this mine for 6 months, and they'd got these frames, and like it was a fucking mess. 3/4 of the stuff had to be repaired. Literally 3/4 had to be fixed, and quite significant fixes. There was some there that they, long and short of what I was saying about these connectors, it doesn't matter, we can get them from Sydney, but we've got to wait a week for them to send them down with a truck. So, you know, this thing, well, we've got almost 2 weeks to do this. Well, now it's actually 1 week to do it, because it takes another week for the truck to come down, because they have like a 2 weekly, twice a week the truck comes out, start of the week and the end of the week. So, yeah, strangely enough, this stuff that was in this mine, these steel frames, and they're fairly significant steel frames, I looked and I knew exactly what it was, but I still can't tell you how the fuck they managed it. And it was forklift punch holes through the side of these frames, and they must have hit this thing to the point, like, if they're in a fork, and from my experience driving a 4.5 ton fork, and they hit those things that hard to make those holes, it would have been such a fucking collision, they would have just about head-butted the windscreen on the forklift. Like, honestly, it would have fucking shook you up something chronic to do that. And they'd punched into these steel frames, these fork holes, and I knew exactly what it was. They'd done it to 2 of them, and all the others, water damage also. There's a fucking dogs in it. There's several of them that they just outright bent and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll tell you what, oh man, what I was saying about the price they pay to hire these screen systems. We were told that, you know, if we have these jobs where there's 40-something, you know, mid-40s, low 50s per job, literally 2 of these jobs a year would cover the entire cost of the rent and everyone's pay. Bingo. We pretty much cover the entire company costs with 2 of those a year. The profits are so extreme on it all. And there's stuff that 3 of us can take 5 minutes to do. They gave them the option of putting it on. They said, no, we don't want to waste time putting it on. And I think they're charging either $120 or $150 for something 3 guys can do in about 5 or 6 minutes. I wasn't too sure how long it was going to take to do it. I said, oh, it might be longer than we think, but I thought it was 2 people, and yeah, when I look at it, there's a method I worked out last time with the forklift. There's so much that you got to remember, because it's so complicated trying to get this shit square, and a lot of the stuff is so heavy to deal with. It's all forklift, so you try and work out a method to do it with a forklift, because it's fucking terribly heavy trying to deal with it by hand. And you got 2 people and you're still fucking gagging, you know, to lift some of it, because of you know, all of the framing of all this shit. It's not just mesh. It's more than that. But yeah. Anyway, it's so fucked up sometimes that you see there's all these. There's several people involved. You know, the salesman's supposed to check it. The supervisor should check. The manager should check. Boom, 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 boom. And you'll have all the shit ready, and it's all the big manager, and and then there's some fucking bit missing, or someone confused one connector with a different connector, and we're all fucked again, you know. And the funniest part is, they've had weeks to prepare for it. Still didn't get it sorted. You know, you just think, fucking hell. Yeah. I'd really hate to see these guys go on a fucking mission to the moon or something, because they get up to the moon and realise they fucking, you know, didn't have enough food, or fucking they had to poop in a Walmart bag or some fucking thing, because things weren't sort of pre-planned well enough. Oh man, but it's. I was just fucking laughing. Get us all fired up to do all this shit. Set aside this time, plan how many we're going to do a day, and one of the main bits we need to do it, we haven't fucking got. They've known for a month. 3 people are supposed to look into it, and none of them have looked into it. At least 3 people are supposed to check up on this. None of them looked. There it is. I'll look at the location it's stored in. There's a number, bang, the number's right. I get it out with a forklift, and there's just 2. Which is sort of strange, because originally we had fucking shitloads of these things. We've had like a couple hundred. I don't know where the fuck they went. They must have gone to another state or something, I don't know. Sort of intriguing, because there's branches of this in 60 different countries around the world. We total about 5,000 employees and turnover about 1.8. It's an EU country that's the headquarters. Basically, it's controlled by the founder's wife and her 4 kids, and they turn over 1.8 billion euro a year. Now, this is not a secret, you know. It's a privately owned company because it's all held by 5 people, but these figures are all public. And it's strange because the US using feet and inches, we have certain things that hold shit up. They call it a prop, you know, these things are adjustable height-wise and all that sort of stuff. And some of these are, you know, they're bloody heavy duty, and it's shockingly strong. I've seen stuff there that I reckon quite easily would hold 10 ton per fucking prop, and possibly 15. I mean, that's incredible, the strength of these things and the size of some of these things. But there's other smaller ones that are just used for more minor shit. They're actually, these particular ones are aluminium based, which is intriguing. There's aluminium castings, you don't want to hit them with a hammer too many times or they just snap. So they're not too good if they bend them, because you got to bend them back again. Just the top and the bottom, where they sort of, you know, mount into their respective parts. Yeah, she cracks pretty quick. But we've got stacks there, and they'll actually be a mix of stuff that we had come from the United States and stuff that we've, you know, got sent to Australia deliberately. And yeah, it's like you have these ones that have got the pink line, and there'll be all inches and feet, and that was the United States version. And the same stack, you got your back to centimetres, and that's the yellow version. They got a little yellow line for the measuring, so they can actually work out the exact height they're going to be based on where this particular, it's like a giant nut thing, lines up with this measurement up the side. Yeah. So it's sort of, it's quite intriguing, this all this shit, but it's phenomenal, really. You know, there's stuff that Malaysia couldn't sell, and we tend to move a reasonable amount of it, actually. And this one's a sell only, not a hire. And it's Malaysia had all this stuff and they couldn't do it. So what did they do? Imported the whole lot to Australia. And we've been selling it, just because Malaysia just couldn't seem to get anyone to buy it. And some of these bits and bobs that we get, it comes in from, you can tell by the pellet markings, and I have seen, and timber markings, I have seen stuff come from Russia, Latvia, Germany, Italy, New Zealand, I think that's about it. Oh, forgot, India. And guess what? Nothing from China. Surprise, surprise, eh? Nothing from China. But we do get a bit of stuff from India. And this is the thing, like, it's so funny because I actually, on occasion, have seen the paperwork for all this stuff. And they have like the full fucking Russian version of the paperwork and then the English version. And you go over there, shipping container, we get shipping containers. Not too unknowns, we get, they call them flat decks or drop decks. I think it's a drop deck. It's a bizarre thing. I've only seen, I think, one so far. But it's like a shipping container size, but the ends are actually ramps that you drop down. And you got all this shit all strapped up with all this temporary strap and stuff like that. And the temporary strap's like rated to 3 ton, or 4 ton or something. It's fucking hell. But, yeah, it's intriguing, really, the amount of shit we get. But a lot of shipping containers, you got to cut the fucking serial number thing off with a bolt and write all these fucking serial numbers down that we're on the blah, 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 and, fucking customs paperwork and all. I've seen all that, but I don't generally deal with it, but, I have been shown it as part of, you need to know about quarantine, blah, 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 because there's a quarantine fucking procedure and all this shit, So anyway, that's just me little waffle on some of the work stuff.